right, so we're changing subjects here. We're going to talk about present perfect while also practicing pronunciation. Let me we'll put a title up here for that. Now I'm going to call you Pachu. Let's see. How do I do this? Like this. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. How are you doing today?
Yes, sir. I'm doing great, sir.
That's good. And so PP was asking about present perfect. Do you know the difference between the simple past and the present perfect? Is that something that you're familiar with? Do you know what he's asking?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, I know.
Can you tell me what I'm going to put something here. Let's I'm going to write a couple of sentences here. How about let's see.
Okay, sir.
Uh, here's one sentence, and here's another sentence. Wait a minute. I clicked the wrong thing here. Oh, I forgot to put a number. Let me say that's number 2. And then let's do present perfect. What we'll do is we'll just talk about what the difference is between present perfect compared to other verb tenses. And then we'll do a speaking and listening exercise where we can practice talking, but also practice the difference between present perfect and the other verb tenses. So let me just set this up
Okay, sir.
one more.
Okay.
Okay. So, Pachu, what do you think is the difference between number 1 and number 2?
Yes, sir. Yeah, the difference is in number one, the sentence is in present tense, because in verb we see there is S. He lives in New York,
Okay,
means this is in present tense.
hmm that's true. But what does that mean? Uh, if actually, this is a bad example using live here. But could I say what time period is that? Is that now? Is that next week? Is that yesterday? When is that?
It is now. He lives means it is the actually the present tense represent the daily habits or
Oh,
something like that.
you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
I'm going to put another one here. I forgot one.
Okay, sir.
Let's put let's put this one here. I'll change these numbers. Okay, so if I say he lives in New York, does that mean now? Does that mean right now?
Yes, the person is uh, living there in New York. Yeah, now
Oh, okay. So
is
what about number 2? Is that also now?
yes. Number two is at the moment, means yes. This is also but it is present continuous tense. Two is present continuous tense because the person is living now at this moment. Uh, yeah, but one is just living many years for many years.
Which one
Yeah,
which one is
this
many years? Number 1 or number 2?
Number one, he lives
Oh,
in New York means he lives New York.
you know what? Number two.
But
Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
okay, sir. Number two is the person is living at this moment right now. So he is living in New York means he is at this moment at this 2024 is living in New York.
Yeah. It so number two sounds temporary in a way because you're just
Yeah,
maybe in the past it was different and maybe in the future it will be different, but right now,
yeah, yes, yes.
New York.
Right now. Yeah,
But number one sounds like always or forever or something like that. Like his whole life maybe.
yeah, always. Yeah,
So that's sort of the difference.
yeah,
So so they both have something to do with now. But number two is a little bit different
yeah.
because it sounds temporary. It means it might maybe it was different in the
Temporary, yes.
or maybe it would be different in the future. How about
Future, yeah.
what about number four? What does number four mean?
Okay, so number four means the person lived, but not at this time. He lived, or he used to live
Hmm.
in 2020 or 21, for example,
Hmm.
but now he does not live.
Okay. So
Hello?
so if we say number four, that means in the past it was true and now it isn't true, right? Do you agree? In the past that was true, but now it isn't true.
Yes.
Okay. What do you know the PP? I'm asking you, PP. Do you know the word since? Have you seen that word? Then I'm going to ask you, Pachu. Do you know the word since? What does the word since mean to you? Or can you use since in a question? Pachu, can you use since in a sentence?
Sense.
Hmm.
He has good sense of.
Oh, not since, not sense, since. We have to practice the difference between those two words. I'm going to. Okay, now now we're getting into pronunciation, because let's see, a sense and b sense. I don't know if you can see the screen. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
Can you see above my head two words? Maybe it would take like 1 minute for that to appear. But I've typed two words above my head. Can you
Sense.
do you see them? Do you see the two words? Can you see them now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes.
How do you say A? How do you say the letter?
Yeah. See. Uh, sense.
And how do you say letter B?
Since.
Letter A?
Sense.
Okay. Do you know
Since.
when you say letter A, you should try to push out the air very strongly. Sense.
Yeah. Yes.
Can you try
Sense.
you
Sense.
say letter A, push out more air when you say it though. Sense.
Sense.
Pretend there,
Sense.
pretend there's an H. Let's imagine that there's an H here. Okay, so I'm just going to write that up. So let's imagine that sense is spelled Sehn-se, so that you have this temptation to push a lot of air to pronounce the H. Sense. Can you try that?
Sense.
Sense.
Sense. Sense.
Push out. You have to push out more.
Sense.
You should feel the air.
Sense.
The air should be hitting like the top of your mouth, like up in the front. Sense.
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 Got to push out more. And letter B is you eat. You have to eat that sound. Since you have to feel that going down, not going out. Since. Push down.
since,
Since.
since,
Since.
since,
So when you say letter
since,
A, when you say letter A, you push out a lot of air. Sense.
sense,
That's
sense,
pretty good. That's
sense,
good. And how do you say letter B?
since,
You have to eat it.
since.
You have to eat it. That's good. That sounds very good. Okay. Now, what does letter B mean? What is the idea of letter B?
Since is a period for a certain time period.
When does it start?
For example, I lived in New York since I was a child.
Okay. So it starts in the past. It starts in the past. And
I have lived. Yeah, I have lived.
and that's why you're using the present perfect because PP answered. He said, "Since I was a
Yes,
child,
okay.
I was practicing the guitar until I became talented." But so that's a good example,
Yes,
PP. But you want to change your verb from "I was practicing" to "I have practiced" or "I have been practicing," because
yeah, I have been.
what present perfect means is something starts in the past, and it doesn't mean that it's happening now, it just means it's open to the future. So
Yeah,
we definitely know that it started in the past, but something is
yeah.
open about it. PP, do you still play the guitar? I don't
Okay.
know if you really play the guitar, but if that's true, if you play the guitar, if you practice the guitar, you're not playing now. So it doesn't mean now, but it means it's open to continue. The possibilities are still open. I don't know. Does that make sense to you? The difference, or do you think you need some more explanation about that? So it starts in the past. Have starts in the past. Lived starts in the past. Have is open now. It's connected to now. Doesn't mean it's happening now. Okay, here, let's. It takes a while for people to respond or to hear what I'm saying, so I can't get feedback for like 1 minute. So let's practice that. Let's practice. I'm just going to find a present perfect exercise here, and then we'll practice pronunciation, but also the uh, difference between simple present and present perfect. Let's see. Let me just find something. How about this one? Let's see. Okay. All
Mm,
right, Pachu. I'm going to say a sentence. Okay. So this is going to be some listening
okay,
practice
sir.
for you, also. Okay. So
Okay, sir.
I want you to listen and try to repeat what I'm saying. All right.
Okay. Okay.
John works in that office building. John works in that office building.
John works in an office building.
Okay. John works in that office building. John works in that office building.
John works in office building.
Okay. In that. In that. In that. In that.
In that, in that.
What do you think about that sound? That. Is that a long sound or a short sound?
That is long sound.
It is
That,
it is long.
that.
It is long, but it's not a particularly special word here. In that, John works
Yeah,
in that. Well, we could make it long. Let's make it long. In that, John works in that. John works in that.
John works now. Now.
In that. In that. In that.
In that.
In
In that. In that.
in that. I'm going to write that. Okay. I'm going to write John works in that office building. Can you read this? John works in that office building.
Okay, sir. Jo- okay.
Do you see it? Can you see it on
Uh,
the screen?
John, yes, sir, I see it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, John works in that office building.
What do you think?
John works in that office building.
Think about the name John. John. What about that vowel sound? Is that a big sound or a little sound? John.
Big sound, John, John,
John works.
John. On.
Mm-hmm. John works. John works. What about works? Is that big or small? John works. John,
John works is also big.
compare
Works.
that. Think about the two sounds. John works. John works. What do you think?
John works is short.
It's small.
John
Pretty small. That's a pretty small sound.
small.
John works.
Yeah.
John.
Long,
What?
long and short sound.
Yeah.
John long and works short.
Can you say them together? John works. John works.
John works.
Okay.
John works.
What about in? In.
In. In.
Mm-hmm. Is that big or small? In.
Short.
John.
Small.
John works in.
John works in. John works in.
John works in. PP is asking, what's the difference between Sean and Sean? Are they the same sound? It's just the Irish way of saying John, and so there's also another spelling, Shawn. They all sound the same. That's my brother's name, Sean, but it's they always sound the same, Sean. It's just the same. Can you, Pachu? Can you say John works in that? John works in that.
John works in that.
Okay.
John works in that.
So we've got big, small, small, big. John works in that.
Yeah. Big, small and
Mhm. Big. And
big.
John works in that. All compare. Let's put another. I just want to, because I want to show you this. Could be useful for you. Let me just write this another way. Whoops. Okay, I'm putting another phrase up on the screen. And this is John works in the. John works in the. John works in the.
Yeah. John works in the.
Okay.
John works in the.
What do you think about that vowel sound? The. The. Is that long or short?
The is short.
It is short. It's short.
The
And what
the
about that?
yeah.
That. Is that long or short?
That is long.
Yeah.
That
So John works in that
that.
office. John works in that office.
John works in that office.
Mm-hmm.
Ja-
John works in.
John works in that.
Mhm. You hear the difference? I mean, the difference really, they're different sounds. That and the are different sounds, but also because people get confused. They don't know if I say that or the. But one big, big difference
Yeah.
is that one is very long and one is very short.
Yes. 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 Okay. Okay. I got it. Yeah.
Okay, so John works. What about the word office? Office. Office. What do you think about
Uh,
the
uh, is short.
Oh,
Piece is long. Piece.
oh, 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 oh,
Oh,
What do you think? I'm just saying the vowel sounds. I'm just saying the vowel sounds. Oh, oh, Which one is long and which one is short?
a, uh, a, is short. A is long.
Listen,
A.
listen, listen, listen. Oh, eh, oh, eh, oh, eh. Which one is long and which one is
O
short?
is sorry. O is long.
Yeah,
A is short.
yeah, yeah.
Now I got it. Yeah.
Oh, eh.
A.
Office, office,
Office. Office.
office,
Office.
office, office. Say it again.
Office. Office.
Office. John works in that office.
Of John works in that office.
Okay. Building, building, building.
Building. Building.
What do you
Building.
what do you think of the vowel sounds? I, I.
E is long. E.
I,
Yeah. So
I.
finally short and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, starting is long. Yeah. Initial.
Building, building.
Building. Building.
Building, building. John works in that office. John works in that office building.
Yeah. B is short.
Can you say the whole
Building.
sentence? Say the whole thing?
John works in that office building. John works in that office building.
Okay, that's right. Okay, now we're going to add another phrase. We're going to add another phrase to this, which is "Don't worry, PP. We're about to do present perfect." This is part of the exercise. We have to start somewhere, but we have to talk about pronunciation also. So that's what we're trying to combine the two of them. Can you say, Pachu? Can you say this phrase? Last year. Last year.
Okay, sir. Last year.
What
Last year.
What do you think about that vowel sound in the word last? Is that a big sound or a little
Yeah.
sound?
Big sound. La. La
Okay. And
is
how about that's right? It's very long.
ah.
Last year. Last year.
Last year.
What about
Last
the-
year.
what
Last year.
say the next word? What is the next word? Last. What is the next word?
Last year. Year.
Okay, now we have a little bit of a problem. I'm going to put two more words up on the screen.
Yeah. Year.
Because I'm not sure how we're going to fix this. We'll have to improvise here. I think I've had this problem before. Uh, do you
Yeah.
see the two
LPS.
words that I have written up on the screen?
Yeah. Last year is okay. Now I see it. Yeah.
Say number
Year and year.
say number one.
Year. Year.
And say number two.
Year.
Okay, let me. uh, oh, PP is asking about another one. Wait, let's. But actually, PP is saying put air, AIR. But actually, air, the word you have, I'll write it. So because this would be confusing without people here. Uh,
I forgot.
that will way to number one year. Wait, let's see. Year,
Year.
ear, year, ear. Pachu, can you put your tongue when you say number one? Can you try to arch your tongue like almost? It almost touches the top of your mouth. Year,
Okay. Year.
year,
Year.
year. Do this with your tongue.
Year.
Year. Your tongue is like this. Year.
Year.
That's good.
Year.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Year. And when you say number
E-
two, when you say number two, your tongue is flat. Ear. ear, or it's down more. It's not flat, but it's down more. Ear, and the ear,
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 ear, ear,
ear.
ear,
Say number one.
ear,
Make your tongue go like this. Year.
ear,
Put
ear.
your tongue should be higher up. Make your maybe back a little bit. Year. Yeah, pull your tongue back a little bit for number one.
Okay, sir.
Year.
Ear,
Year
ear,
and up. Up
ear,
up and back. Year.
ear,
That was good.
ear.
That was good. That doesn't sound like number 2 anymore. Okay. And so but when you say number 2,
Okay.
it's more relaxed. Ear and you just push out the ear.
Ear,
Ear.
ear,
Number 1, say
ear.
number 1.
Okay. Number ear, ear,
Year,
ear,
year. Pull your tongue back. Year,
ear,
year.
ear,
Okay,
ear,
that sounds like number
ear,
2. That's number. You're saying number 2 or number 1?
ear,
Okay,
ear.
that's number 1. Year, year. That's number 1 or number 2. Tell me which number you're saying.
One.
Okay, say number 1 again.
Ear,
Year,
ear,
year. Okay, that's better. Say number 2. Say number 2.
ear,
Okay,
ear.
no, no, you have to relax your tongue now. Ear.
Okay. Ear,
Yeah.
ear.
The number 1, year, and number 2, ear.
Okay, sir. Ear and ear.
Okay.
Ear
Oh,
and ear.
okay. If you're saying number 1, you have to pull your tongue back and lift it up. Year,
Ear,
year.
e- ear, ear,
That's hard.
ear.
That's hard. That's good though. It's better.
Yeah.
It's better than before. Okay. Now PP was saying, "Oh, put air." Number 3, air, AIR. But now maybe to some people, number 2 and number 3 sound different, but to me they sound the same. So to me, there's no difference between number 1, number 2, and number 3. So they have a different spelling, but to me, uh, they sound the same. I think maybe to some people it could be a little bit different, but number 2 and number 3 sound the same to me. Okay, all right. So what do you think, Pachu? What do you think about that sound in year? Is that a big sound or a little sound? Year, year.
There is a big sound, long sound.
Okay. So we've got last year, two very big sounds, two very big sounds, big vowel sounds.
Last year.
Year.
Yeah, big sound.
John works
Year,
in that office
year.
building. John works in that office building. John works in that office building. Say that again.
John works in that office building.
Okay.
John works in that office building.
Okay. Now, if we add the time expression last year, how will you change the sentence? What do you have to do to make that logical, adding the time
Yes,
expression
sir.
last year?
Eh, John worked in that office building last year.
Okay.
Worked.
Worked.
John.
John
wo-
worked. John worked in
Yeah.
the office building last year. That's right. Okay. Because last year is finished, we have to use a verb that is also finished, and that would be worked, the simple
Yeah.
past. That would be a good way to change this sentence. So I'm just going to change it up here. We're going to change this to, we'll add everything, we'll put everything up here, and I'll eliminate this. Say that again. John worked in that office building last year.
John worked in that office building last year.
John worked. John, don't forget to, some vowel sounds are long and some of them are short. John worked. Is that long or short? John worked.
John worked. John worked.
Okay, worked in. Worked in.
John worked in.
John
John worked in.
John worked in that.
John worked in that. John worked in that.
That's good. Some of the vowel sounds are very long and some of them are very short. Office. John worked in that office.
John worked in that office.
John worked
John worked.
building.
John worked in that office building.
Some of them
John worked in that office building
last year.
last year. Last year.
John worked in that office building last year. Try to be very careful about the duration of the vowel sounds when you do that.
John worked in that office building last year.
Okay, office or office? Which one?
Office.
Off.
Office.
Not it's
Office.
not office, but office.
Office. Office.
Building.
Building.
Off,
Building.
office building.
Office building.
Last year. A lot of long sounds.
Last year. Last year.
John worked in that office building last year.
John works in that office building last year.
Works or worked? Which one?
Worked.
Worked,
Worked.
not works. Worked. John worked in that office
Worked.
because it's finished. Last year is finished, and the verb tense worked, simple past, is also finished. What happen?
Yeah.
What happens if we change this to? Let me. I'm going to write something here. What happens if we change this to since 2020? Since 2020. How do you have to change this sentence if we add the time expression since 2020?
Okay, sir. The John has worked in that office building since 2020.
Okay, that's right. Why are you changing it? What's the
Yeah.
difference between saying last year and since 2020?
Yes. Since 2020 means the John started working in past, but still he is working there.
Okay, PP is saying, is it the same if you say John worked in that office and John was work in that office? PP, the second sentence is not a verb. That does not exist. John was work. That that is no kind of verb tense. So John worked in that office. That means he's finished working. But John was work is not a verb, so that actually is incorrect. It doesn't work at all. Has worked, yes. So you have two options. You can say, well, you have many options, but two possibilities are uh, John worked or John has worked. And the difference is if you say John worked, that means he's finished. He doesn't do that anymore. And if you say John has
Yeah.
worked, that means he did it in the
Yeah.
and it has potential in the future. It doesn't mean right now, but it means it's open to happening again. Okay. Uh,
Yeah.
Now you
Mm.
could say John was working or John had worked, but that's too much. That's too much information for one day. And I'm sorry, but I have to take a 1 minute break, and I will be right back. Okay,
Okay,
please
sir.
please
Okay,
wait.
sir. Thank you.
All right, sorry about that. I'm back. Okay, so let's change this sentence to add has worked. Let's see. Where are we? So we'll say John has worked since 2020. Now,
Yeah, since.
whoops, what happened? Okay. So we have John. We already know that word. John, that's pretty long. How about has? What do you think about that word? Has.
Yeah,
Is that a long sound or a short sound?
has
Has.
has has is long.
It is long.
John has.
You're right about that. It is long, but it's a very unimportant word, okay? So
Yeah,
we're
yes, yes.
we're going to reduce it and we're just going to say John's. John's work.
John's. Yeah, John's.
John's work.
John's worked. Yeah,
John's worked in. John's
John,
worked in.
John's worked in.
Okay.
John's worked in.
Okay. In that. John's worked in that.
John's worked in that.
Okay.
John's worked in that.
Can you read what about since? What about that word since? What do you think about since? Is that a big sound or a little sound?
Since since is long. Since
It could be.
is taking more time.
It does take a lot of time.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
about
Since
20, 20, 20,
yeah. 20 is short. 20
20,
20 20
2020,
2020.
20
Yeah, short.
since 2020.
Since is long.
Okay,
Since 2020 is short.
pretty
2020.
short. Since 2020. Since 2020.
Si- Since 2020.
Okay.
Since 2020.
John's worked in that office building since 2020.
John worked in that office building since 2020.
Okay, don't forget the S. If you don't have the S, then I think you're saying simple past, and that sounds a little bit strange. So you have to say John's. You have to use that S. John.
Sorry, sorry. Oh, sorry, sir. John's worked in that office building since 2020.
John's worked in that office
John's.
since 2020. Okay. Pachu, how will you make a yes no question? How would you ask a yes no question with this sentence?
Yes. So has has John worked in that office building since 2020?
Okay. Now, do you remember we said, "Oh, has." That's a very long word, right? But but it's not very important, so we made it small. We said John's worked. Remember that?
Yeah, John's. Yeah,
Okay. But now
short.
now
John's worked.
when you make a question though, suddenly this is a very important word because this is how we know that you're asking a question. So
Yes, yes,
very
yes,
yeah, so suddenly this is a very big word. Has John worked? It suddenly becomes a very big
yes.
word.
Okay, now. Oh, has John worked in that office building since 2020?
Okay, that's good. I'm going to actually I'll write that. Has John worked? Has
Yes.
John worked? So sometimes it depends on what kind of word you're using. Sometimes a big word can be small, and sometimes a small word can be
Yeah,
depending on
and
how important
big.
it is.
Yeah, how important it is. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Can you read it again? Read it again.
Okay, sir. Has John worked in that office building since 2020?
Has John worked in that office building since 2020? How would you answer no to that question?
Has
Go ahead. Do it again.
Yeah. Has John worked in that office building since 2020?
Has John worked in
Yes.
the building? Okay, but let's answer no
Yeah.
because that's more complicated. It's easy to say yes. Let's answer no. No.
No, John hasn't.
Hmm. Let's say, what is John? Is John a he, she, it, you, they? What is John?
He,
Okay.
he, no, he,
Uh huh. Go ahead.
no, no, he hasn't worked in that office building since 2020.
Okay. Now, so I'm going to write this, and we're going to do something with that in a minute. But PP has asked a question. PP says, "Well, how do you know if apostrophe s means uh, has or was or is?" Well, first of all, you cannot make a contraction like that with was. It's definitely never was. But let me show you. Let's see. He's worked. Whoops. I didn't mean to do that. I wasn't finished. Let me. Oh no. So the only thing it could be the verb to have, or it could be the verb to be. Both are possible. And the way that you know which one it is because of the word that follows it. If you have the past participle worked after he's worked, if you have that one, the first one, then you know it must be has because it's not possible to say is worked. That's not that's just not a possibility in English to say he is worked. You can say he has worked, but you can't say he is worked. So you know it must be has. And the same thing is true with he's working. The only possibility, because you have ing, it must be the verb to be. It must be he is working, because it's not possible to say he has working. That would be incorrect. So that's how you know. So it seems confusing, but people are never confused because there's really only one possibility after the apostrophe s, and that's how you know. Okay. Uh, so can you, Pachu? Can you read the sentence? It's on the screen right now. Oh, I forgot.
Okay. Okay, sir. No, no, he hasn't worked in that office building since 2020.
Okay, no, he hasn't. Uh, what do you think?
No, he hasn't.
What do you think about hasn't here? Do you think that's a big word or a small word? Oh, so, it
Has has
hasn't. Is that an important word this time?
hasn't.
Because we've just seen sometimes has is important and sometimes it's not important. What about now? Hasn't.
Here is it is here it is important.
Okay.
Yeah, because
So
this
should,
is
should we make it a big sound or a little sound then?
big sound, big
Okay.
sound because it is important. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think
No, yeah,
it's more
no.
important. It's more important than the word no. Okay. I think it's more important than the word.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yes, yes.
so these two words, no, he, they can actually become very small. And when people are talking, they say noe, noe.
Yeah, no, yeah, no,
Okay. So then we say no, he hasn't.
no, he hasn't. No,
Yeah.
he hasn't.
Those two words, no, he, they're really not important. The really important word here is has.
Yeah,
No, he hasn't.
hasn't. No, no, he hasn't. No,
Uh,
he hasn't.
no, he
No, he
hasn't.
hasn't.
No, he hasn't worked. Now
No, he,
we've mentioned work many times. We don't have to make it big anymore. We can make it small. No, he hasn't worked.
no, he hasn't worked. No, he hasn't worked.
Okay. Let's see. You're saying hasn't. That's very Indian sounding. Hasn't. What's the difference?
Yeah.
You're going up.
And
Okay, your intonation is going up, and you're saying hasn't, and that sounds that's a very
yeah.
stereotypical Indian sound. But do the opposite.
Yes, yes.
Do the opposite
Okay, sir.
because it's negative. Say no, he hasn't. Go down instead. That sounds much better if you do that.
Okay, sir. Okay. So, yes, sir. No, he hasn't. No,
That's
he hasn't.
that's much better. If you do it like that, it's much more natural sounding. Trust me. Let's say
No,
no,
he hasn't.
no, he hasn't worked.
No, he hasn't worked. No, he hasn't worked.
PP is going. Well, thank you for watching, PP. Thank you for your questions. I hope you come back later. Okay, no, he hasn't worked. Let's try that
No,
again.
no, he hasn't worked. No, he hasn't worked.
Okay, and
No,
then
he hasn't worked.
can you say the rest of the sentence? Say the rest of the phrase.
O- Okay, sir. Uh, sorry. No, he hasn't worked in that office building since 2020.
Since 2020. It would be good if you started thinking about that. Usually, sentences, the tone or the pitch starts pretty high, but then you have to keep falling down as you go. Because if you keep going up, that's kind of the opposite of the way that English sounds. So you can start high. No, he hasn't worked in that office building since 2020. It's better to go down than to do the opposite. So
Okay.
can you
Yes. Yeah, okay.
so think
Okay.
about like
Okay,
if
sir.
we start with no, it's very high, but by the time we get to 20, it should be down here. No, but 20. Can you try that? Try to go down instead of moving up.
Okay, sir. I try, sir.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Uh, no, he hasn't worked in that office building since 2020.
Okay. No, he hasn't. Maybe we could make because hasn't is a very important word. We'll make that the high point. No, he hasn't worked in that office building since 2020, and you go down. Can you try?
No, he hasn't. No, he hasn't worked in that office building since 2020.
Okay.
Am I right?
That well, it's getting better. I think it would take some time to learn that. That's a really hard thing to learn. Okay,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Intonation, yes. I'm practicing. Mm.
but the good thing, I mean, the good thing is to just notice it. That would be the first thing to notice. Just like a few days ago when we started talking about vowels, the first thing is just notice that some vowels can be long and some vowels can be very short. But also maybe it
Yes.
might be too much information for right now. But some words have a very high tone and some words have a very low tone. That's another thing to notice. Okay.
Yes. 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 Okay,
Do
sir.
you have time to do one more sentence or because I think we've been doing, but is it okay to do one more
No,
sentence?
sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Is
Yes.
it
I
okay?
am whole night.
Okay.
It is
Well, I think
now
maybe we'll do one
8:30.
more
Yeah.
because I'm getting tired,
Okay,
but we'll
sir.
do one more, okay? Here's
Okay, sir. Okay. No
here's a new sentence, which is Mary studies at the university. Mary studies at the university.
problem. Okay, sir. Mary says,
Mary studies at the
what is it, sir?
Mary studies at the university.
Mary is Mary started in university.
Okay. So what I'm doing this on purpose. I'm talking like a native speaker, just conversationally.
Yes.
No, that's hard to
Yes, sir. Yes.
But since you don't really understand what I'm saying yet, let's focus on the tones for a minute, the pitch. Listen to how I start high. Mary University. Mary studies at the university. I start high and I go low. Can you try that? Start high.
Okay. Mary University. Mary University. Mary University.
Mary studies. Mary studies. Mary studies. Do you hear
M-
high, low? High, low.
Mary studies. Mary studies.
Okay.
Mary studies.
Okay. At the, at the, at the.
At, at the at the
Okay, but now we're going down some stairs here. Okay, we're starting high. Mary studies at the.
Mary studies. Mary studies at the. Mary studies at the.
Mary studies at the
Mary studies at the. Mary studies at the
university.
university.
Okay, now
University.
I'm going to write that. Okay, I'm going to put that up on the screen.
No, sir.
Okay, so we have Mary studies at the university.
Mary studies at the university.
Now let's just
Mary studies.
go ahead.
Mary studies at the university.
All right.
Mary studies at the university.
Now let's just look at each word and think about the vowel sounds. Okay, Mary, Mary. Do you hear long or short sound
Mary.
word? Mary,
Mary is a long. Mary is a long.
long,
Yeah, important word.
long, and then short. Long
Yeah,
and then short. Mary.
Mary. Yeah,
E,
Mary.
e, e is long and then it's short. Okay,
Mary,
oh,
Mary.
it's not it's
A,
Mary.
E, A,
Not it's not,
Mary.
yeah, but it's not it's
A,
Mary.
Mary,
Yeah, Mary, Mary,
Mary, Mary,
Mary.
Mary.
How about the word
M-
studies? Studies.
Studies, studies,
E, e.
studies, studies.
Are those long or short sounds? E, e.
Uh, is long.
Okay.
It's
What about I? Is that long or short?
is short.
Okay. This is
Stud,
a very
study.
that's a very common pattern in English. So and you can see that with these two first words: long, short, long, short. Mary.
Yeah, long, short, long, short.
That's very typical rhythm in English. Mary studies is a
Yeah.
very preferred rhythm in English. Mary studies. Can you say that?
Mary studies. Mary studies.
Mary
Studies.
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 Mary studies.
Mary studies.
I. Mary studies.
And
Mary studies.
that's
Early.
yeah, and
Yeah.
then we have these two words, okay, that they're always together and they are said like one word. They happen so many times together. It just sounds like one word.
Yeah.
Etta, etta, etta,
Yeah.
etta, etta.
At the.
Okay.
At the.
Now,
At the.
if you were
At
saying
the.
if you were saying the word at, okay, just like a regular word, not in the middle of a phrase,
Yeah.
big sound or a short sound? At.
Uh, if it is single, then at is long,
It's very
but in sentence, it is short.
yeah, most of the time. Sometimes it can be long in a sentence, but most of the time it's going to be almost disappear. Mary
Disappear.
studies at the studies.
Mary Mary studies the. Mary studies the.
Yeah, well, you have to
Mary studies
put a
the.
little sound, put a little bit of sound there. Mary studies at the at the.
Mary studies at the. At the.
Can you
Mary studies at the.
say seta with an S seta?
Said the.
Make it
Said the.
make
Okay.
the
Said the.
yeah, but make the vowel sound a little bit smaller. Seta.
Said the.
Yeah.
Said the. Said the.
Mary studies at the.
Mary studies said the. Mary studies said the.
Okay.
Mary studies said the.
Mary studies at the. Okay. And then we have one
Mary studies said that.
yeah, then we have one more
University.
Uni
University.
university. Where's there are a lot of vowel sounds in there. How many syllables does that word have? University.
University.
Yeah.
For
Oh wait.
uni.
You, no, no.
University.
University. It actually has five.
4 or 5.
Uh-huh.
5, yeah, 5.
Yeah, five. It has
5.
five. University. Which
Uni.
which syllable has the really strong sound? University.
Yes. Initial. University.
This is a pretty interesting problem that we have here because let me see if there's a way that I can write this for you. Let's
University. Yeah, university.
university because actually let me see if I can make this bigger. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Sometimes what happens
Uni.
if a word is very big, sometimes it can have more than one accent. And wait, but it's just going to be that one will be stronger than the other one. Okay, so this word has two accents: a big accent and then a smaller accent. Listen to me say the word university. Which word? Can you hear how ver is much stronger than you? University. U is strong. You're right. University.
Okay, sir. Fine. Yeah, university. Yeah, this is a very clear.
Uni-
University.
but
Yeah,
you're right
I
that.
like this.
Go ahead.
I like this style of writing. Na? University. Yeah, this is very clear.
Uh-huh.
Actually, yeah, I like this.
But now, do you remember? Do
Yeah.
you remember that I told you that like Mary studies? That's a very common rhythm in English. Big, strong, strong, weak,
Yeah.
strong, weak. That's very strong. Okay.
Yes.
So
Strong week.
to keep the rhythm, to keep the rhythm of this strong, weak, you probably would make you very strong here because then it would then you have strong, weak, strong, weak. You have that same pattern that English likes.
Yeah.
So at the
Yes. Yes.
university, at the so suddenly this becomes much bigger because it fits the rhythm.
Yes. Yeah.
Does that make sense? I know
Yeah.
that's
University.
kind of confusing, a kind of hard thing to understand, but it's interesting though. Wait,
Yeah. It's okay. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
so actually, what we'll do is we'll change it because you have two accents in the word. We'll make the first one the strongest, and we'll suddenly reduce this one to something a little bit smaller. Still strong, but a little bit smaller, like this. Okay. But when you're saying the word normally alone, it's university, like that. But because we want,
University.
yeah, but because we're looking for a strong accent, because we just had etta, we'll make unis strong.
Yes. Yes.
So at the university, that so you will do that here, even though it's not true, just to keep the rhythm.
Okay.
Just to
Mary.
go ahead.
Mary studies at the university.
Mary studies at the
At
university.
Mary studies at the university.
University.
Mary university.
Mm,
University.
mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Say it again.
Mary studies at the university.
Okay, now
At the university.
that's right. Now let's just do a little bit of pitch. Okay, so we start with Mary,
Yeah.
we go high. So let's just say the two words. Mary University. Mary University. Practice doing high and then low. Mary University. Give me your high and then give me
Mary Mary universities. Mary
give me low.
universities.
Say university. Exaggerate university. Say it very deep,
Uh,
very low. University.
Mary university.
Mary.
Mary.
It's like
uni-
singing. It's like a song. Mary
Okay.
University. Mary
Ma-
University.
Mary University, Mary University,
Okay, and so what we'll do is we'll try to fill in the space. We'll go down. Mary studies at the university.
Mary studies at the university.
At the
Mary studies in Mary studies the
studies at the. You have to
studies the
studies at the
studies studies at the
mm-hmm, university.
Mary studies Mary studies at the university.
Mary studies.
Mary studies at the university.
Okay, but so remember, let's make you very big. Mary studies at the university.
Oh. Mary studies at the university. University. It's
University.
university.
University. Okay.
Uni.
All right. So let's let me get rid of this word here. Mary studies at the university. Now I'm going to give you a time expression, and that time
Okay,
expression
sir.
is here's my time expression. A few years ago. A few years. How will you change that sentence to make this to fit in that time expression? A few years ago.
Okay, sir. Uh, Mary studied at the university a few years ago.
Okay,
Studied.
that's right. Okay, let me change that up here. Mary studied at the university a few years ago. Okay, and
Tinggal apa nih kamu?
whoops. Okay, now let's just focus on that phrase for a minute. A few years ago, because we've done the other ones, we already know those. Uh,
Yeah,
so a few, a
a
few.
few,
What do
a
you think? What,
few.
what do you think about that word a? Is a that word just the word a? Is that a long sound or a short sound?
A short.
Well, okay, but if you say the word separately, just alone, a, is that a big sound or a small sound?
Yeah, a single is big,
Okay, it
but in
is big.
sentence it is small.
Yeah, when it's not an important, sometimes it can be a very important word in your idea, and then you will say it big. But
Yeah,
if it's
yeah,
just a boring word, then it just becomes
yeah.
uh, uh,
Uh,
a
uh,
few,
uh,
few.
a, a few, a few,
And what do you
a
think about
few.
the ending of that word, few? Is that a big sound or a little sound?
Yeah, a big sound. Few,
A
a
few.
few.
And how about years? Is
Yes,
that big or small? Year.
few. Year,
Years. Is that big
year,
or small?
year is a long
It's very long.
year.
Few years. Can you
Year.
say all of those sounds together? A few years.
A few years.
It's
A
a
few
lot of,
years.
yeah, that's a lot of vowel sounds together. So it's very, very important to try to get as much of that sound as possible. A few
Uh,
years. It takes a long time to say all of that. A few years.
A, a few years. A few years.
It'd be better if you made it a little bit longer. Enjoy saying it. A few years.
Okay, sir. Okay, I try. Few years.
Okay.
Few years.
Yeah, don't stop. Don't say a few years. Try to put it all together. A few let it flow like water. A few years.
A few years. A few years. A
A
few years.
year. E e uh. Ear. There are three sounds in there. E e ears.
A few years.
That's good.
Few years.
That's much better than before. A few years. Okay. How about the
A
word? Go ahead. Say it again.
A few years. A
Okay.
few years
How about ago? Ago. Ago.
ago. Ago.
Hmm.
Ago. Ago is short. Ago is long.
Oh, which one is?
Ago.
There are two. There are two vowel sounds. Which one is long and which one is short?
Ago. Is short and
Okay.
go. O is long.
Okay.
Ago.
And when I say go, how many sounds do you hear in that vowel? Oh, ago.
Go.
Is it go
Go
or
to.
uh, two sounds? It's two sounds.
Go.
O, ooh. O, ooh. O,
O.
ooh.
U. U.
Oh,
O. U.
oh.
O.
Ago.
U. O.
Hmm.
Go.
Oh, ago.
Go.
Ago.
Go.
Ago.
Oh.
Say the whole phrase. A few years ago.
A few years ago. Few years ago. Few
Okay.
years ago.
Can you say Mary studied at the?
Mary studied the. Mary studied the.
Maybe let's try to make this because I'm not hearing you say the a and at, and that's very important. So let's make it long. Okay, it can be long. It can be a long sound. Let's say datha, datha. Let's make it long because I otherwise I don't hear you saying it. Mary
Yeah.
studied that
Mary Mary studied
datha.
that that
Mary
that
datha datha. And
that that
actually, I think that helps us with our rhythm anyway. Even though I think, if I'm being honest, I think that
yeah.
uh, when if I were saying this, I would not make this sound long. But wait, let's do this. Mary. Wait, I'm just going to make everything big. Wait, Mary. Just to remind you that there's this strong, weak, strong, weak pattern that is desirable.
Yeah,
It's,
strong, weak,
yeah,
strong.
it's a pretty desirable pattern. So let's practice
Yeah,
for a minute.
this is also uh, this is also called the pentameter.
Yeah, it probably has a fancy name. I don't remember.
Yeah,
But it's true. It's very,
strong, weak, strong, weak,
yeah,
strong.
and
Yeah.
let's see. See, it gets a little bit you don't follow it 100%, okay? So it's just kind of a desirable pattern, but sometimes you can't really do it
Yes, yes.
100%. But so, we've got Mary studied at the studied at the. Let's make
Oh, oh,
and then that way we've got that.
oh.
We've got
I
the.
like it. Okay.
Can you read that? How would you read?
Mary studied. Yes, sir. Mary studied at the university a few years ago.
Yeah, that's better. And I think wait, let me I think I'm going to put even though, according to the rhythm, years would probably be weak. It has to be a strong word. But I think you say it like one word. A few years. A few years. It's one long word.
Yeah, a few years ago, a few years ago.
Mary studied at the university a few years ago.
Yeah, Mary studied at the university a few years ago.
Okay.
Years ago. Ago.
Can you say Mary with a very high pitch? Mary, like you're singing it. Mary.
Mary,
Okay,
Mary,
let's do Mary ago. Mary ago. Mary ago.
Mary ago, Mary ago,
Okay, but yeah,
Mary
mhm.
ago.
But it's not ago. It's ago. Ago. Two sounds and it's very long. It's not ago. It's ago.
Uh, ago, ago, ago,
Ago.
ago,
You should put
ago.
more ooh. Ago. Ago.
Okay, sir. Ago, ago,
That's better.
ago.
That's better. So we'll start high. Mary studied at the university a few years ago. Go low.
Mary studied at the university a few years ago.
Hmm. Mary studied at the university a few years ago.
Mary studied at the university a few years ago.
Okay. Now let's change the time expression. All right. So we'll change this to since. Since what? Since, okay. All right. So we've got since last year. Since
Mm,
last
since
year. Can you see that can you see that on the
last
screen?
year. Mm.
Okay. What do you
Okay.
think about since?
It's, yeah, this since is short.
Since.
Since is long.
Okay.
Since.
I think this is one of these words that could be, it depends on whether it's important or not. Okay. Because since it could
Mm.
be very short sometimes. Do you think that if we make this our time expression, that it could be an important word?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Since. Yes. Since is last
Okay.
imprint word.
So how would you say it like it's an important word? What would you do? How would you pronounce it if you wanted it to be an important
Yeah. Since is long and louder and clear and it's since.
since?
Since.
Okay. All right.
Since.
How about the word last? Last.
Last. Last year. Last year.
Mm.
Last year.
Uh-huh.
Last year.
And is that a big sound or a small sound? Last.
And last is a big. Is a
Okay.
big.
But maybe, because we have since, which we've decided it's an important word. And
Yeah. Yeah. But it may be short. Yeah.
you're but it is normally it's a big sound, but because we've decided that since is going to be an important word, and we want to keep the strong weak pattern if we can.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Let's
Yes.
let's
Yes.
make it
L-
small.
Yes. Small. Last. Last.
Last.
Last.
Since
Last.
say
Last.
since last, then you can compare
Since.
since last.
Since last.
Mhm.
Since last. Since
Mhm.
last.
Okay, now you have to be careful.
Since last.
The vowel sounds in English are very important. Okay, because a lot of times if you change the vowel sound, it will sound like you're saying a different word. So I don't know if
Yeah.
you see that I'm writing two words on the screen. Can you see the two words?
Okay, sir. It is coming now. Okay.
Okay, can you see the two words?
Lost. Yes,
Do you,
sir.
do you know that word?
Lost and
What is number one?
lost. I don't know the meaning. Lost.
Oh,
Yeah, lost.
it's a very strong desire. And actually, it's used to talk about, most of the time, it's used to talk about like a very strong sexual desire. That's number one.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Okay. And
Lost. Yeah.
now, if I say number one, la, la, first of all, how
Law.
many
Law.
sounds? How many sounds do you hear in that vowel? Is it just one sound or many sound? La.
Law is one sound.
Okay. And now when I say number two, how many sounds do you hear? Leia, Leia, Leia. How many sounds?
Yeah.
Yeah. How many sounds? Yeah.
Yeah. Is
Eh,
three.
yeah. Three. Three. Eh. 1, 2, 3. Number one is just Can you say number one?
Uh,
Okay. Not
uh,
Okay. Number two. Yeah.
uh.
Yeah. Say number two.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
there are a lot there now. Let's look at one more thing. Okay, when you say number one, that's an eating sound. That's the sound of eating. That's you're pushing that down your throat. Say and feel how you're pushing it down.
Uh,
Can you
uh,
feel how it's going down your throat? Like you're eating. Uh,
uh, uh.
do you feel
Yes.
that is? Feel how that's down here. Uh, and the air is going.
Uh, uh, uh.
Can you feel that?
Yes.
But
Yes, sir. Yes.
when you say "aya," you're pushing the air out. "Aya,
Yeah.
aya, aya, aya."
Yeah.
That's like pushing up. That's like pushing out. Do you feel that? "Aya."
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so there are actually three really big differences between these two sounds. One is very simple, One is three sounds, "aya." One is pushing down, one is pushing out, and one is very short in duration, and one is very long in duration, right? So there are actually three big differences
Yeah.
between those two. Can you say number one? Say number one.
Lost.
Lust.
Lost.
Say
Lost.
you've got to eat it. Lust. Push it down. Lust.
Lost.
Mm-hmm.
Lost.
That's good.
Lost.
But if you say number two, how would you say number two?
Lost. Lost.
Leia. Last.
Layest. Layest.
That's better.
Layest.
Better. So number one is lust, and number two is last.
Layest. Oh, layest. Yeah.
Say number one.
Lost and layest.
Okay.
Lost. Lost.
Okay. That's number one. You're saying number one, lust.
Yes.
Okay. And number two. Say number two.
Layest.
Okay. So they're very different.
Layest.
There's at least three big differences between those two sounds. Okay. And
Yes.
now we've had the word year before. Is that a big sound or a short sound?
Ear.
Year. Don't forget to
Ear is a long.
pull your tongue back when you say
Ear. Long.
year. Otherwise, it sounds like you're saying ear. Year.
Ear.
Year.
Ear.
Push your tongue up more.
Ear is
Ear.
a long.
Okay.
Ear.
Ye-
Ear. Ear.
Year.
Ear.
Okay. So that's long
Ear.
and it fits our pattern. So we can say since last year.
Since last year. Since
Ye-
last year.
Give,
Year.
give me a bigger year. Since last year.
Since last year.
Okay. Since last year.
Since last year.
Okay. Now
Last year.
be careful because it sounds like you're saying number one. It sounds like you're saying lust. It's not lust, it's last.
Okay.
Yeah.
Since layest. Layest.
Last. Just do it a little bit faster so it's not so exaggerated.
Layest.
Last.
Last.
That was good. That was a good one. Okay, I'm just writing the sentence since we've changed it. Okay, can you see the sentence that I have? We've put the whole thing. Actually, let me make this a contraction. Can you see the sentence? She's studied at the university since last year. Can you say the whole sentence?
Okay, sir. She has studied at the university since last year.
Okay, so
Last year.
she's studied. She now that word she, it's kind of important here, I think. So it would not be a good idea to say she. Instead, you have to say she's. You have to make it a very big sound. She.
She's. She's.
She's studied at the. She's studied at the.
She's studied at the. She studied at the.
She's studied at the university.
She studied at the university.
Okay,
She
remember,
studied at the university.
how many big sounds does university have?
You, you three
Okay,
university.
okay, but so make sure that you're saying you, not you, but university. University.
University.
She's
University.
university. Those are the two, you and ver. University.
Um, University.
She studied at the
University. She studied at the university. University
since last year.
since last year. Since last year.
She studied at the university since last year.
She studied at the university since last.
Hello? Are you still there? Sounds like you.
Uh,
Okay, you're back. All right.
mm,
Okay, now the word has, is that an important word here, or is that a very unimportant word in our sentence? She has studied. The word has, is it a big word or is it
yeah.
a word in our idea?
It's may not important.
It's not important, okay? But so what happens when we make a yes no question? How would you make a yes no question with she's studied at the university since last year?
Yes. Has she studied at university since last year?
Now, is the word has in that sentence, in that question, is the word has, is that important?
Yes, important.
Why is it important suddenly?
Uh, because the sentence is in present perfect.
Uh-huh. And
So
well, it's a question, but it's a question.
because
And we want to
question.
emphasize, we want to make it clear we're asking a question. You
Yes.
understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so suddenly it's very important. When it's just present perfect, it's not really that important. But when it's a question, then it becomes a big important word. Has she studied at the university? So you have to make it an important word. Has she?
Has she studied at university since last year?
Yeah, compare that
Last
with
year?
so
Last year?
sentence form. She's studied. It's not important. It's not an important word. She's studied. She has
Yeah.
say it.
She has she studied? She
Yeah,
studied.
it's not important. You don't have to concentrate. You don't have to pronounce it very clearly. But suddenly, when it's a question, it's a very important word. Has she studied?
Has she studied?
Mm-hmm. Make
Has she studied?
right.
Ha-
Okay.
has she studied?
Okay.
Has she studied?
Has she studied at the university since last year?
Has she studied at university last year?
Since that's an important. You skipped an important word. Since last year.
Has she studied at university since last year?
Since
Since
last.
last year?
Say studied at the. Studied at the. Studied at the.
Studied at the. Studied at the.
Has she
Studied at the.
has she studied at the? Has she studied at the?
Has has she studied at the? Has she studied at the?
Dat the. Say dat the. Dat the. Dat the. Dat.
That the. That the.
Studied at.
That.
Studied
That.
at the. Studied at the.
Studied at. Studied at the. Studied at the.
Has she studied at the university since last year?
Has she studied in at the university last year?
Since last year? Since last year?
Since last year?
Okay. How will you answer no to that question?
No, she hasn't studied at the university since last year.
Okay, no, she has
Hasn't. She
studied
hasn't.
university since last year. Okay. All right. So what do you think is more important, the word no or the word hasn't?
No and has. No and has.
Okay, it's possible. I mean, you could, if you want to, you can make the word no very big. No, she hasn't. Okay, well, actually, okay, if you make the word no important, you probably should not make the word hasn't important. Okay, you have to pick one. Uh,
Yes, yes.
I think because,
No.
people feel bad when you say the word no. I have two dogs, and I was reading about dogs that dogs are very accustomed to hearing the word no, and they hate that word. Like scientists have like measured their brain waves or something, and they panic when they hear the word no. So that's like a very strong word to a dog is no. But I think also for a human, it's a pretty negative word, and to emphasize that word is very strong. Does that make sense?
Yes, yes.
So,
Yeah. No, she hasn't.
yeah, no, she
Okay,
hasn't. That sounds very strong, very aggressive to focus on that.
yeah, yeah.
So, hasn't is also negative, but it doesn't hurt people. Does that make sense? It doesn't hurt you.
Yeah,
Oh,
yes, yes.
9 volt is here. Hi, 9 volt. How are you doing today? Haven't seen you in a while. So, let's make this neutral, not so strong. Let's say no, she hasn't. We'll make the
Yeah.
hasn't part.
No, no, she hasn't. No, she hasn't. No, she hasn't.
No, she hasn't studied at the. No, she hasn't studied at the.
No, she hasn't. No, she hasn't studied at the. No, she hasn't studied at the.
No, she hasn't studied at the university.
No, she hasn't studied at the
Oh, are you still there? I think I lost you.
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
try again.
No,
I can
no,
something happened. Go ahead.
no, she hasn't studied at the university. No, she
Say
hasn't studied at the university.
say dat the. Dat the. Dat the.
That the,
Study
that the,
study dat the. Study dat the.
studied that the, studied that the.
No, she hasn't studied at the university.
No, she hasn't studied at the university.
Okay, but remember, hasn't is our really important word. So it doesn't sound right to just say no, she hasn't studied. You have to say no, she hasn't studied for it to sound correct.
No, no, she hasn't
Yeah.
or hasn't.
Well, either way is fine as long as you're making it big.
Yeah, yeah.
No, she hasn't studied at the university since last year.
No, no, she hasn't. Sure, no, she hasn't studied at university
Oh,
since last year.
oh, I'm sorry. Are you saying? Wait a minute. Maybe I misunderstood your question. Are you asking this because I'm hearing something? I'm hearing something different from you now. Uh, Wait. I think I didn't hear you properly. Uh, I'm putting two words up on the screen. Can you see the two words that I have written down here?
Salah, Zuma.
Hello? Hello?
Hello, sir.
Can you see the two words that I have written on the screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, are you asking about
Hadn't
this?
or hasn't?
Is that what you were asking? Did you ask about this? Because I thought I heard you saying number one. Were you saying number one?
Yes, sir. Hadn't.
Okay. No,
Hadn't.
no, no, no. That's different. That's a very different thing. Okay. Hadn't worked and hasn't worked are two very different things. We can't really talk about the difference
Yeah.
now.
Hadn't.
Hmm. Hadn't is finished.
Hadn't.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Hasn't
Let's
is
just say
second.
hasn't for right now. Okay.
Hasn't.
So, no, she hasn't studied at the university since last year.
No, she hasn't studied in university last year.
I think you have to put more emphasis on that word hasn't. I think that's an important word and you have to emphasize it. No, she hasn't studied at the university since last year.
No, she hasn't studied in university last year.
Since last year.
Hasn't.
Since last year. Since last year.
Since last year.
Okay.
Since last year.
All right. Well, I think that we have to finish here for now. Probably in about
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
seven or
Yes, sir.
eight
Yeah.
probably in about 7 or 8 hours I'm going to be doing more reading. So if you want to practice more in about 7 or 8 hours, I'll probably be back reading some.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir. I am going to do dinner.
Okay. We'll have a great dinner and maybe I'll see you in the morning.
Yes. Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay. All right. Bye bye.
Bye.